Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Doctor. It's another beautiful day out here in the Pacific Northwest, and it is a great Saturday, you guys. I hope wherever you are at, it is just as beautiful and that you are able to get outside in it and relax just a little bit this weekend. This is going to be our second installment of War of the Visions 101, and specifically we're going to be talking about chaining and chain multipliers, you guys. With the advent of Lucia, we do have access to quadruple attack, and with the appearance of raids here on June 10th, chaining is going to become very important and is going to be something that we're going to be talking a lot about when we talk about clearing this high-end raid content where enemies can have over 150,000 HP and you can only have 20 actions to potentially take them down. So first, let's start off with some basics. What is an element chain? An element chain is when you string two elements together. So when you ever pull up an attack, you will see an element and you'll usually see a physical assignment. So that would be like missile, slashing, piercing, magic. So you're going to have an element and a physical chain potential whenever you chain two of those attacks together. And if there are two element attacks, they're going to chain. If they're two physical attacks, they're going to chain. You can also chain physical and elemental attacks, which are going to be the most powerful, but it's going to be really hard to do that without having a duplicate unit or a very specific team composition focused on chaining. Now, each of these chains adds a 1.2x damage modifier to the next attack dealt. So what that means is if you have a chain 1, your next attack is going to be dealing 1.2x damage to the monster as long as it is either chaining physically or elementally. If it's chaining with both, it's going to be a 1.4x because you have the chain 1 on the elemental and you have the chain 1 on the physical. So this can very quickly add up to a lot of damage if you are set up to do this. And this is how a lot of people have talked about taking out the flan. It's how a lot of strategies in JP did it in order to try and maximize damage. And we'll talk about how they did that. Let's take a look at Lucia specifically right now. And as you can see here, we do have quadruple shot as an example. And first, let me show you some of the basics, you guys. You do see this icon right here. This is going to indicate that it is a missile attack and it is a wind element attack. So your attack, your quadruple shot, is going to chain elementally with wind element attacks and physically with missile attacks. So you can see in the forecast of your damage done, it will actually tell you the chain that you're going to be doing. And you've probably seen this icon before. So you can see whenever I line up quadruple shot on an enemy, it's going to be doing 3 elemental chain and it's going to be doing 3 physical chain. Now, the 904 damage here does calculate your chain damage, so you actually don't need to worry about doing the math for what the damage modification is going to be with the chaining. It is actually going to do all of that for you, which is absolutely fantastic, you guys. Now, let's say that you add a Ryu into the mix and you wanted to continue chaining to deal a ton of damage. Well, Ryu is not a wind element, unfortunately, but he does have missile attack. You can see his double shot here is a 2-hit medium damage to target attack. It is a missile attack and it is a dark element attack. So you can see when I forecast doing a double shot after Lucia's quadruple shot, it's going to say that I'm going to get a 5 physical missile attack chain here, and it's going to tell me that I'm going to get a 1 elemental chain of darkness here. And at the end of this, what this is going to say is that I have a 2.20x modifier after quadruple shot, and then after my Ryu does a double shot on top of that. Because if you add up the total chain values, it's going to be 2.20 for both of them, or it's going to be 6, right? Because you can see 3 elemental chain, 3 physical chain, 5 physical chain, 1 elemental chain. So you do have to keep track of this, and you do kind of have to specify what you're going to do for chaining in your comp, because it can get just a little bit complicated if the agility values don't work out. If the monster takes a turn in between your characters, the chain automatically resets. So there is a whole lot of things that you need to take into account here. Now, let's go ahead and go over some examples here just so that you guys understand how everything works, because this is a very complicated concept. So if I did just a regular double shot from Ryu on a monster who I haven't attacked yet, I would be at a chain 1, elemental chain 1, and if I did another missile dark attack, that attack would be modified by 1.40x. Now if I did a Terra Slash and a Terra Slash together, it would be a chain 1, element chain 1, because they are not multi-strike techniques, and the modifier, the next fist wind attack, would be 1.40x. Now if I did quadruple shot from Lucia, I would be at chain 3, element chain 3, which means the next missile wind attack would be a 2.20x modifier attack. Now if I did quadruple shot to double shot, I would have a physical chain 5 for missile attacks. I would have one elemental chain, which would lead to my next attack. If it was dark and missile, it would be a 2.20x modifier attack. If it was just a missile attack, let's say Lucia got her next turn here, and I wanted to do a chain cap or a really strong attack after this modifier has already been in place, it would only be a 2.0x modifier, because that elemental chain modifier is not going to work with Lucia because she is wind element. So you can see that sharing damage types is very powerful. Sharing elemental types is even more powerful, but it's very rare for units to have shared elemental types and shared damage dealing types, because of course you want to have different types of units in the game. And there are a couple of exceptions to this, but the majority of the time that's how it is. And so that's where duplicate units come in. If you can get like 2 Lucias, for example, plus a Ryu and a Frederica, you're going to be doing an insane chain damage there. So things to think about, you guys. There's a lot to think about, a lot of in-depth calculations to do. You can see how chain capping can deal a ton of damage, and is one of the primary ways that we focus on killing the future raid bosses that are going to be having over 150,000 HP at level 99, and you have only 20 turns to actively kill them. Now, of course, turn order is going to be one of the most important thing, you guys. Chains do end whenever an enemy takes an action, or you attack a monster with a different element or physical type. So you can see here that this chain, whatever it's going to be, is going to end when this unit here acts, because this unit is going to act and that chain is going to end. So you only have until the unit acts again to continue the chain on them. And then when you're taking into account raid bosses, you might want to start thinking about using haste. You might want to start thinking about using thieves for steal time, because you are going to be able to steal time, delay the opponent's turn, and potentially build up that chain even more, you guys. So something to think about there. Slow could also be very powerful, and so could any other CT reduction or CT boosting ability. So lots to think about, you guys. Now finally, let's kind of go over some of the units that could be useful for chaining, and let's talk about sort of a mock chain party concept. So of course we're going to have Lucia, which is going to be the only unit that can quadruple shot, and even in JP, Lucia is the only unit that can triple chain on her own. Then you have Shadowlynx and Keton. Both of them have Dream Within a Dream, but it's only within one slot. That's going to be a slashing dark technique, and that's also going to be a chain 2 each. It does have a high chance of critical, which makes it a nice bonus. Overall, very powerful, but you're going to have to pair it with other dark units or other slashing units. Ramza has access to triple blow. You're probably not going to be using this on him a lot, because you have to pair it with other light units, and there's not very many other light units that you can chain with. You do have Thancred over here, who has Keen Edge, which deals 2-hit damage small to the target. But honestly, your Thancred's probably going to be using High Jump. He's probably not going to be using Keen Edge. And your Ramza is probably going to be using something else or set as some type of spell blade. So triple blow is probably not going to be one of the things you're going to make happen. Now in terms of ranged attackers, we have a whole slew of them with access to double shot, and that includes Frederica, that includes Ryu, that includes Lucia, and that includes Venera, who is coming in the future. Venera also Dark Element, so if you look at Ryu and Venera, they do have potential to work together in a party very powerfully, so something to think about there in the future. And then, in terms of setting up a mock Dark Party team, this specific team composition is designed around chaining darkness, because I couldn't find a way to chain physical attacks. I do have a little bit in here. I do have fist attacks from Gefgarian and from Ziza. I have slashing from Shadowlings. That's kind of a little bit different though. So really, because of the mixture of these abilities, you're really going to want to just focus on either chaining elements or chaining physical attacks, right? So like maybe you put Lucia and Ryu and Frederica in a party, and they stack up those I almost said piercing again, those missile damage chains all the way up. So you really want to think about how you're building your party. If you're going to go in with a single element, how they're going to chain, what the abilities they're going to be using to chain are, and how you're going to be pulling off large damage with your chains, and if that large damage is even going to be worth it. I think Lucia is probably the first situation where chain damage is substantially worth the effort to go through in order to get it. But you never know, you guys. You might have a situation when the next raid event comes out, not the chocolate pudding one, but the White Day event from Japan, which is like their Valentine's Day. It is going to be a dark, light element monster who is weak to dark and slashing, I believe. So you could be putting together a dark element team here, quite possibly in the near future. So something to think about, you guys. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for listening. I know this was kind of an information dump, and I know there was a lot to think about and a lot to know from this. And I would definitely say if you are looking at element chaining, you should definitely be going back and going through this video. Maybe save some of the slides, build your characters carefully, and think about it carefully. Make sure that you are prepared fully for raid when it comes next week. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Make sure if you are buying Visior that you are checking out my Amazon affiliate link down below. You do save 20% on Visior purchased, and it gives 10% of your purchase to me, which is one of the best ways to support me besides liking and subscribing, you guys. Also, I have a special shout out to Lilith for turning our Discord into a Discord Nitro. Lilith, thank you so much. I do appreciate all of the support. I can only do what I can do because you guys are here following me and supporting me. Thank you so much. And for everyone else, make sure you hop in the Discord, jump into our YouTube channel, come say hi to us, you guys. I stream every night. I do have a set stream schedule. It is posted on every channel in my Discord in the pinned messages. Make sure you come check it out. And hopefully I'll see some of you guys tonight. Thank you so much, and have a great rest of your day.